Hello guys, welcome to Multi-Op Gaming. I'm Chetwind, here today with Chen Zan, or just Monty for short.
Hello.
Just showcases of our new features on our live server. Today we're just going to do all of the East Altis items, so our checkpoints, military base, our lovely little palace, things like that, for you guys to have a nice look at. And just to make sure you guys are up to date with all of the bits and pieces that are on our new live server. I apologise for now that I'm going to get frame drops, but people are editing this server, so it's going to get it may get laggy at times, but we'll persist through and we'll make it an enjoyable experience as much as possible.
We should probably start by introducing the new live server.
Yes. Okay, well basically the principle of this live server is we've got two countries, East Altis, which is obviously this side, against West, which is this side. Two countries with a border patrol, that sort of thing. And at the moment, this is where we're at now, is the southern eastern border, basically. This is one of them. I'll show you the northern one in a minute. But basically, the two countries are at tension with one another, to put it lightly. The western is very much like more of a civilized country, got democracy and all that sort of stuff with elected presidents and whatnot, and the East is more of a dictatorial way of running things. Just one leader, mainly military run country with no police force, that sort of thing. But we'll keep you updated with new and lovely new updates as and when we have them, and they're all functioning lovingly. But for now we'll just show you the structures we've got down for East Altis, and we'll come back and do all the West lot again at another similar point. As for now, we'll show this checkpoint. So basically, that way down there is obviously to the western border, and this is into our lovely Eastern Palace country. Yeah. I mean, you got anything to add, Butler, or should we just show them around?
No, I think we can show them around. Kind of self-explanatory, really. We decided to carve up both countries with a border. And as you can probably see in the distance, there's a wall that runs the entire length of this particular peninsula from south to north. And I've just lost connection.
You're still with us. You're still with us.
It's going so well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we've decided to do is basically split Altis into two separate countries. And see if we can sort of bring a new outlook to Altis life, a new sort of direction, a new dimension. And it's hoped that we can sort of generate quite a lot of populace with this new idea, because we're going to invigorate new ways and new game sort of styles and a whole new kind of experience, really. And I think it's, at the moment, it's going to be quite interesting in terms of both countries. On the one side, you've got a very organised, republic, democratic country, everything civilized and nice. And on the other side, you've got a very torn down, ex-communistic state that's run by the military. Civilians are looked upon as scum. It's all, I guess the best way you can think of it is it's like North and South Korea, but East and West. If you look at those two countries, you can kind of envision what we're trying to get at with the new Altis life. Yeah,
we just felt breaking away from the standard Altis life and just making something new and exciting. Problem is, new and exciting comes with new and exciting problems, which is what we're trying to iron out. But I figure if we can showcase features of the new map, we can sort of get you guys excited about wanting to play, and obviously when we're ready, we can invite you guys down and play as well.
We are hoping to release an alpha stage of this map in the next couple of days, actually, hopefully by the weekend of the video when this is released. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we should be able to have a basic, bog standard playable game that you can come on and play. We'll go through the kind of procedure because it's a little bit different to the standard Altis Life when you kind of join in. Obviously, because we've had to incorporate 2 countries instead of 1.
So it's like duplicating everything, but making sure everything works nicely.
But we've kept it simple. We've tried to make it as easy and as playable and as enjoyable as possible. You know, it should be a very fun experience, I guess. And as we sort of progress, you know, into beta and, you know, final releases and feature updates and stuff, I think this got massive potential to be something very iconic. So, anyway, this is our border. This is the east border. Civilians will have to pass the checkpoint in order to get from east to west and vice versa. There is a no man's land area between the borders, which is kind of a neutral zone.
Which is which I will fly. Once we go once we fly from the southern checkpoint to the north, I'll fly along the wall so you can get a better idea of what it's like, and I'll scope out the no man's land for you as well so you get a better idea. But you can see opposite borders between countries when you fly up that high, so you can get a bit of an idea of how big the no man's land is. But to put in perspective, we have got this town up here and this town here are both in no man's land, and then the border sort of runs along here. But you'll see when we fly over, so you can get a better idea of what it's like.
Basically, the way we're looking to do it is if you look on the map at Cathalia at the top of the borders, that will be the civilian starting area. So when you first join the game, brand new, you'll start at the seaport there. From there, you'll get instructions to visit the licensing and visa shop, where you can then buy a visa to join the east or the west countries and become a west citizen or an east citizen. Both countries have their ups and downs. You know, one country isn't better than the other. They both have their plus and minuses. It just depends if you want to play, you know, cleanly, or if you want to play dirty, or if you want to be part of a democratic republic, or if you want to be part of a tyrannical dictatorship. We're trying to make it sort of appeasable to both countries to get people interested. So there are lots of different features that we're adding and hoping to add to make the experience very special indeed.
Yes. As Monty said, we're trying to get the alpha build out as soon as possible so you guys can get a nice idea of what it's going to be like. Things still need to be polished, still things need to be finished. As you know, these H barriers, some of them are still floating, but we'll go around each structure, and obviously the H barriers over there are still floating as well. But as I said, it still works. To at a principle, it will still work, but obviously it just needs to be refined. But we're trying to get alpha out, hopefully this, end of this week, this weekend sort of time. So you guys can come and have a game, have a play, see what you think. Any suggestions, we are more than welcome to accept, because
you can come and meet your glamorous East Altis dictator. Who,
that is Chen Zan over there.
Who's actually me. Obviously, I'm not called Chen Zan in real life. He's basically a roleplay character. Very loosely based on Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il, Saddam Hussein. Very dictatory, very tyrannical. Known for war crimes and very sort of evil. And so, you can come and play on the East, or you can go and play on the West, where they have presidential elections. They have their own organised police force, their own military, their own kind of structure. Or you can come and play West, where we're predominantly military. We sort of abuse our citizens, make them feel very degraded and unworthy. And we also conduct a lot of sort of secret-based missions against the West. We do a lot of espionage and clandestine type missions. And also there's a lot of story-based roleplay going to be involved in like weapon manufacturing, chemical weapons, tensions on the border, conflicts between East and West. So we've got a lot planned for this game. And we would like to see it kind of popular as much as we can possibly get it.
As I said before, the wall is finished to a degree, which needs to be polished. There there are still
The Great
holes
Wall
and
of
stuff.
Altis.
But that's what I mean. All over there to the left, guys, is no man's land over there. All this is no man's land. You could just about see the border on the other side. With the west's watchtowers.
There are ways in through the wall if you don't want to go in across the border. For some of the more criminal-minded players, there are ways to sneak across without being detected. But bear in mind that obviously both countries are quite hostile towards each other. There's quite a bit of conflict between the two, so the borders will be patrolled. You know, you will have helicopters flying over. There'll be guards patrolling on foot and in vehicles. So you may get caught, you may not. If you're not, you'll probably be quite lucky. But if you do get caught, be prepared to face the justice of the countries. And that's obviously depicted in the two sides. You know, on the west side, you're more likely to be treated quite nicely. You'll probably get put in jail for a little bit. East, you might be interrogated. You might be sort of tied up. You know, deal with sort of physical punishment or that kind of thing, or you might even be executed. You know, it just depends on. So it's a nice kind of mix of good and bad.
I apologise for the strange drop. This is just awful. But it's hard to do it when people are editing the map still. Anyway, this is our other checkpoint. It's a bit different. We need to change this barrack building over, but you get the sort of general gist of what it's like. You'll be entered one side, your vehicle will be searched. You get to the other side, and then you'll be let out. If vehicle searches are needed, obviously we've got these gates here for you to come across, have your vehicle checked in this area here. The barrack building does look good, but the only reason is I don't like it there, or it doesn't work, is because there is vegetation growing inside the building, which is not good. It's not what we initially planned for trees to be growing inside, but
I think someone put a house plant in there and it kind of escalated a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, you get the general gist. Guard towers at either end to make sure no one's sneaking around. That sort of thing.
Both countries will have their own border crossing, so it's not going to be incredibly easy to cross borders. You know, you will sort of have to deal with border guards and everything. You can get across by other means. I'm not going to give away too many secrets, but you can get across other ways. But just bear in mind that each country has its own army, navy, and air force. So, you know, you have to be kind of clever about how you want to do it if you want to choose that particular path. But most of the time you'll be let into the country providing you've got a standard visa. We'll show you how we're going to incorporate the visa system in the next update. So it's very interactive, you know, it's very sort of role play driven, and it should be an awful lot of fun.
That is certainly our hope. That's what we're gaming for anyway. But with the borders, another thing I'd like to mention, with the borders separating each one, is the borders do go again. Look, we've got bloody rocks floating over here. The borders do extend up to the shoreline. Things like the rocks need to be fixed just to extend it out.
Yeah, the walls do extend up to and into the water. We're not going to make it too easy for people to cross the border. We do want to make it quite difficult. You know, we do want interaction on the border crossings with the guards and etc. Vehicle starts and search, but you can obviously cross by other means, as I said. It's up to you if you want to take that risk, but bear in mind if you are caught crossing borders illegitimately, you will be kind of dealt with by each country's law enforcement. So where we're going to go now is we're going to go to the East Dictator's Presidential Palace, which will be my home in the roleplay. We've picked the Ghost Hotel in East Altis because we think that's the perfect place to have, you know, a presidential palace where he can kind of command his country and sort of give, you know, crazy dictatorial orders, you know, be a bit tyrannical. We do have a weapon.
Sorry, go on. Sorry,
we do have a wet plant which we're just flying over now. You can probably see it down to the left, where we will be producing weapons of mass destruction in storyline. We've got a lot of props and stuff for that. We will be sort of having big storyline bases that everyone can get involved with, and we'll also be interacting with YouTube-based news broadcasts for the storyline. So we'll be getting people coming in to do news broadcasts and breaking news and all that kind of stuff based on the storylines that happen in Altis. So it's going to be very, very interactive, very incorporated. You'll be able to follow via Facebook, via Twitter, via Twitch, via YouTube, and you'll be able to keep up with everything that we do on the Altis life. And you'll also be able to actually come in and play your part as well. You know, we want people to be as sort of forward-coming as possible, and just make it the best it can be. So this is the Presidential Palace. This is my home.
We'll show you the guys in the interior in case any of you haven't seen, because it is one of the most iconic buildings on Altis.
This was a later addition to Altis, the Ghost Hotel. You've probably seen it, but we've decided to have it as the stately home of the East Altis dictator. We think it's, well, I mean, it is the best place to have it, really. It's large enough to do what we want to do with it. You know, it's essentially a mansion, really.
Although technically it is a hotel. We've adapted
it's a
it.
hotel, but
We felt it's most appropriately designed for a palace, and it is the most palacey looking. I mean, just look at it. I mean, paint written off the walls. You've got boarded up windows. It's very sort of old school, you know, run down, sort of palacey looking building, and it's perfect for what we need, really.
it depicts what we want to portray as a rundown ex-communist country that East Altis is. You know, nothing here is nice. We're not, you know, too technologically advanced. You know, everything is based upon its military. You know, we run by terror. You know, we're very unforgiving to our citizens and civilians. You know, we'll treat them badly. We'll abuse them. You know, we'll just be complete bastards, really. And that's the kind of point of the countries. You know, one's really good, one's really bad, and you get to enjoy the mix of both. Now, we don't force people to pick countries. You get the option to choose when you come in. You can choose to be in the west or the east, and you can obviously leave and choose the other side just to get a mix of what both countries can offer. And we encourage that you play both sides and kind of see how it goes. You know, you might pick one, or you might want to switch between the two. And we think we've done a really good job in sort of portraying two different sort of countries and the way they're sort of culturally driven.
This is the front of our magnificent, beautiful palace. Just thought you guys might want to get an idea.
Needs a bit of weeding.
It does. It needs a bit of work, but that can be done at a time, at a later date. But yes, this is where we'll have our palace. If again, it's just up here, guys. If any of you ever want to check it out on other servers, it's just up here.
It's just up from the amphitheatre.
Yeah, we'll show you that in a second as well. That's another beautiful part of this lovely palace. But yeah, I mean, it's as I said, all we're doing today is just showing you the east sides, features like structures, things like that, different buildings. We'll do another episode for the west where we'll show off the more civilized way of living. You know, you're not in run down, you're in nice new buildings, things like that. You've got basically just what more the Western world is today, really. We've got a nice swimming pool. Again, needs to be a bit weeded, but that can be dealt with.
Oh, brilliant! I'm caught in the lift shaft.
Oh God.
Yeah,
this is pretty much it. We may, again, going back to what Monty said about the news, we could use this as more of a stage for something, the amphitheatre. But maybe some public executions, news could report it. You know, we need ransom for people or something. The possibilities are quite literally endless with this, because you've got so many different things you can do and incorporate so many different features within the game. It's certainly for this mission, it's quite exciting to do. Right now, I think all that's left is the prison, really, for now.
I teleported and fixed the issue.
Oh, good man.
Yeah, I mean, both sides will have their own criminal and law enforcement system. And obviously each countryside will have its own style and ways of dealing with criminals and crime and sort of everything internally. Obviously, the West will be a bit more diplomatic. They'll have like judicial systems, courts, jail, and you'll have the police force and everything. The East are obviously going to be a bit more tyrannical, a bit more sort of, I guess, evil in the way that they deal with criminals. We have our own um, detention centre that we will take criminals to. We're going to incorporate a blindfold tie-up script so we can kind of do with you whatever we want to. I know that sounds a bit wrong, but bear with me. And it's just another way of differentiating between the two countries. If you're caught doing a crime on the West, you're more likely to be treated, a bit more nicer. Whereas on the East, you could be in a world of trouble. And some crimes do actually carry the death penalty in East Altis. Things like murder, specific drug trafficking, any kind of acts of terrorism or treason against the state can be done by execution. And you can also find yourself having a public execution where we'll actually record the execution and have it as a newsreel. Obviously, we won't get too statistic. I can't even say the word. We won't get too
sadistic.
That's the word. I couldn't even say it. We won't get too sort of over the top. We'll obviously we don't want to go over.
We want to keep it light. We want to keep it light. We want to keep it fun.
Sort of light-hearted. We want to keep it fun, and we don't want any sort of issues arising from our activities in the game. So, we will try and keep it as light-hearted as possible. But it is a way of sort of playing the game. These things do happen in real life. So we will try and have a nice balance, but we won't go too over the top with what we do. So, I mean, by all means, we will execute people, but we might not have too many public ones, because that tends to stir up a lot of trouble. So we'll just kind of see how it goes, really. But this is our detention centre. It's in the middle of the salt pans, purely because I thought it was a really good place to have it in terms of if someone was to try and escape from here, you've literally got nowhere to go. It's very sort of empty, very lifeless, very soul destroying, really, being stuck in the middle of a salt flat with nowhere to go. You've got nothing really to look at. There's no life, there's no vegetation, there's no growth, there's no nothing. It's just this salty, crusty desert.
And escaping makes it much more difficult. You've got to have a bit more of a plan to this, because if we've got guards stationed up in that tower, they are going to see for quite a long way.
Yeah,
and we will have people stationed here to keep an eye out.
You will be able to escape. We're not going to make it, we're not going to make it impossible. There will be opportunities for you to escape from here. But obviously, we want to create this kind of soul-destroying, hell on earth place that you don't really want to end up. And it will hope. Obviously, it won't deter people from crime. They're obviously welcome to do crime, but it will make them think twice, in the way so they don't get caught, because they will end up here, or they will end up elsewhere, as part of our criminal system.
We are trying to make it a bit. I mean, at the moment, the prison is very simple. It's very easily designed, but we are looking to expand on it. Again, all we want to make sure is all the scripts are working, everything's functioning. So when we come to release the alpha, as long as everything's working, we can then add on to the structures, make it look a bit more, as Butler said, soul destroying. Make it look a bit more. Try and just spice the place up with a bit more attitude. Is what I'm looking for. But at the moment, it's very simplistic. It works for what we need for this time. But
it works with the backstory of the country. It works with how we envision East Altis to be in terms of a rundown communistic country where you know, it's all sort of dictatorially governed and very tyrannical and you know, very sort of old fashioned in its ways. You know, we don't spend a lot of money on technology. You know, we're very hell bent on sort of making people's lives as miserable as possible through power and sort of political influence and you know all that kind of stuff. So really, we just want to get the basics in, just make it you know as kind of playable as we can to start with. And this prison is, well, you know, you wouldn't want to end up here. Let's be honest. You know, it's not somewhere that you really want to be. It's stifling hot. There's no life. There's no vegetation. There's no shade. You know, you're in the middle of a salt pan. There's miles and miles of salt pans. So we think we've picked the best spot here.
Yeah. We have, I mean, just if, as you can see from just on the top of the guard tower, you can see for a long way. So escaping on foot may be a bit more difficult, which adds another aspect to it. As in, you know, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it by helicopter or you've got to do it by car. There's got to be a proper breakout.
Yeah,
Because to get away, you're gonna get spotted. You're not, you know, you may not get shot at straight away. You might, you know, you're gonna try and get recaptured. You're not just gonna say we're gonna blow you up with an RPG, but you know, it just makes it a bit more challenging. But I mean, as you saw from inside, it's very planned. No chairs or anything. We'll add all that stuff in once we know everything's working fine, so we can add a bit to it. But it's a very desolate place. These salt pans. It's as Butler said, it's quite soul destroying. But I think that's it. I don't think we've got much more to show you, unfortunately. Well, for today anyway. That is East. That is East Altis for now.
We got the racetrack.
Ah, that's not finished yet.
Okay, we do have a go-kart racetrack.
I think that's down here actually.
Along the east coast that we're building so people can come and have fun. You know, we're not going to make it completely sort of miserable.
It is.
There are things that people can do to kind of have fun. We're not going to be total bastards in that respect. You can go race go-karts. You can, you know, you can still do everything you can in previous Altis lives. You know, collect drugs and resources and all that kind of stuff. They're all going to be included as well. But we feel that having the two countries just brings a new depth to the game mode, which is, you know, one of the popular game modes on Arma 3. We just wanted to add a new dimension to it, a new aspect, and an awful lot of work and effort has gone in from the entire dev team for multi-op. And, you know, we just want to get to a point now where we just want to share it with everyone and gives, you know, people a chance to come on and play and share the experience that we've built for them.
Definitely. Well, for now, people, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Well, as I said, we'll bring out another video with all the West stuff, all the West stuff we've got so far. If you got any ideas, by all means, don't, you know, leave a comment. Tell us what you think we should add. We'll get it in. We may already have it in. We just don't want to tell you yet. That's a secret surprise, maybe.
We'll link our forums and our Facebook and everything in their channel as well, so you guys can come on and have your say. We are on TeamSpeak as well, which we'll put in the channel description, so you can come on and have a chat with us. And we look forward to seeing as many people as we can with the new Altis life.
Definitely. And for now, ciao. As corny as that is.